right, so let me start by showing you a few pictures. Do you know who these people are?
Yes.
You can recognize them?
Yeah.
From they're famous, right?
Yeah.
What do they all have in common? All of them.
Famous
Yeah.
singer.
Singer. Oh, singer? He's not important, he's a football player.
They are half Korean.
Yeah, they're all half Korean, right?
Didn't know that.
I can recognize her, the boxing.
Oh, yeah, she's, what's her name? Do you know her name?
Yumbo.
She's quite famous.
Yeah, Tiger's
Yumide.
wife. Yumide.
Mide, right?
Yeah.
She's
Hip-hop
quite
musician.
famous. Yeah, so when you see pictures of these people, what do you think of? What kind of things do you think of?
Actually, I cannot remember the fighter's name. Recently, he is also half Korean.
Oh.
No, not Chuseong-mun. Her mother is Korean and her father is American. But
Daniel.
UFC.
Daniel.
Daniel.
Daniel's brother, right? Daniel is also in the what's that? Jibung high kick.
No.
The
Oh,
UFC
no.
fighter.
We've mentioned that they're half Korean. What kind of things do you think about when you hear half Korean?
I think it's very good.
Good thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you think the life is for someone grow up in Korea, for example, being half Korean? Like, what are your thoughts?
When they are growing up in Korea or the other
In Korea.
in Korea?
Yeah. What are your thoughts when you hear it?
I think they might have something, different from, us. They might have something, racist or discrimination.
Yeah, racist maybe
on
some
the there's
discrimination
behind
problems. Yeah.
in their mind as well.
Definitely. I'm going to give you all have your pens. You had your pen with you? Do you have a pen? I have a pencil if you don't have one. We're going to say some words for you, and I'd like you to just brainstorm some thoughts that you have when you hear these words. So, the first word is Amerasian. What do you think of when you hear the word Amerasian?
Amerasian.
There's another pen here.
I got one.
Okay.
So,
You don't know the word Amerasian?
yeah.
Does anybody know the word Amerasian? They can help him with it.
Does that have anything to do with Asian?
Sure, yeah. And amor, what does the word amor make us think of?
Amor makes me think of love. A-M-O-R.
Well, this one is spelled A-M-E-R.
Oh, like American Asian.
Yeah, like American Asian.
Asian.
Yeah. Actually, specifically, Amerasian, we'll get into that more later, but that's typically half Asian with a father who was in the military.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the first one is Amerasian. So just brainstorm maybe like 3 words that when you think of Amerasian, which now you know what that means, what does that make you think of? So just think of some things. And the second word, the second phrase is international adoption. And maybe if you can think of a few words that makes you think of. What do you think of when you hear international adoption? And the third phrase is Korea in the 1970s. Okay. So those are some things I want you to think of when you watch this clip. And the first time you watch this, I want you to try to listen for what you understand. And it might not be 100%, but just try to get the gist, try to understand for the most of it. And you can watch the image as well. I'm trying to make it bigger, but there we go.
So there I was, couldn't speak a word of Korean. This is the first man I met. So her mother was still alive. Her mother was not raising her. Her grandmother's raising her. And what struck me immediately was how in love the two of these people were. Grandmother was incredibly fond really psychologically damaged by having been made fun of, ridiculed, picked on, and been rejected. And Korea was probably the place I found to be the worst for these kids. And what struck me immediately